There is such a disconnect, Katty K, between the polling numbers and the reality, and a lot of Democrats are trying to figure out exactly why that is. You look inside the poll, a large number of Democrats just say Joe Biden's too old. He's too old. The numbers don't add up, though. Like, for instance, you look at the economic numbers, for instance. You go down the list, going into Labor Day weekend, Wall Street Journal headline, resilient U.S. economy defies expectations. That's in Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal. You look at other Wall Street Journal articles, they talk about strong job numbers, that wages are outpacing inflation, that Americans are getting, quote, another raise because of this economy. Another Wall Street Journal. Again, I'm sorry, Republicans, Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal. There's another Wall Street Journal article recently that talks about how, despite what every economist has been saying over the past couple of years, the United States economy looks like it's going to be able to stick the landing. It's going to have a smooth recovery without a recession. Again, all good news, but there's this massive disconnect. And you look at people giving disapproval, high disapproval numbers on the economy. 37% approve, 59% disapprove. Caddy, in other polls, 74% of Americans say that their economic situation is good. You look at inflation, the numbers are upside down. Inflation is cooling. It's just absolutely incredible. In improving infrastructure, he passes a bipartisan infrastructure bill, like a massive record-breaking infrastructure bill. He's upside down there. I mean, dealing with China, he's been tougher on China than any president. You look again, we talk about it all the time, what we've been doing with our security partners in the Philippines, in Japan, in South Korea, in Australia, on and on. We could go down the entire list. And the numbers don't add up, Caddy. And a lot of Democrats are saying it's because he's too old. That's what's underlying this entire poll is Joe Biden's numbers are low because right now Americans think he's too old to do the job.
Yeah, I wrote a piece about this in the BBC saying this is the Alice in Wonderland election. What's up is down and what's down is up because none of it seems to make sense. Here you have Donald Trump with a slew of indictments against him, and yet he's soaring in the Republican primary polls. And Joe Biden with an economy, as you say, you've got, unemployment at 3.8%. It's just ticked up a little bit, but it's still low. Inflation coming back down to 3%. Incredibly low by the standards of certainly of most Western countries, where it's up at 6, 7, 8%. So America is really doing much better economically. And why is it that people aren't feeling this? I mean, partly, yes, interest rates are high, and that is hurting people, some people, and prices are still higher than they were before COVID, and I guess people are still feeling some of that. But I think you're right that there is the age factor is playing into this, and I know how frustrated the White House is on both of those counts. They hope that by sending Joe Biden out around the country and that once more of the money that has actually been pledged in things like the CHIPS Act and the IRA actually gets out into projects around the country, then maybe they'll start to see some kind of return in terms of the polls. But the age factor, Joe Biden can try and joke about it, but it's still a looming factor. And when Mitch McConnell has incidents like he had over the weekend, like he had a couple of weeks ago, then that doesn't help the president either, because it raises again the idea that just there's a group of leadership at the top that is where there is an age question about everybody. And he's just going to have to keep stating the numbers like you just have in terms of the economy, and hoping that the American public starts giving him some recognition for an economy that is doing better than almost any Western economy in the world.
Well, I mean, and you look at the news front page of the New York Times today, China's economy really teetering on the brink of a massive recession right now. We're doing China, Russia, please, even our European allies. Our economy's doing better than just about any economy in the world. And yet, again, there's this massive disconnect. And you go into these poll numbers, and the massive disconnect comes from the central problem. And we got to go to Lemire, and because he's obviously been closest to this. We were going to go to break because we have Frank Foer on the other side of this, who's written a book about Biden. But, John, we got to bring you in here, man. I mean, the White House doesn't want to talk about age. I understand. but it colors everything. It colors everything. If you look at what he's done in foreign policy, you look at how the economy's going right now, these are numbers that should be giving any president a huge lift, and it's just not happening here.
No, and the White House, they are aware of this, and the DNC is aware of this. The re-election campaign is aware of this. And they point out with some frustration that Donald Trump is only 3 years younger than Joe Biden.
Exactly.
But yet that Wall Street Journal poll suggests, though, that almost twice as, there you see it, 73% of those respondents say Biden is too old. Only 47% say that Trump is. And this is a lingering sort of baked-in perception now, and that's something they're trying to overcome. Now, we should note this poll, relatively small sample. It's also done by one of the pollsters involved was sort of a Trump-affiliated Manafort group, Tony Fabrizio. So let's put that aside, though, as we look at this. It is just one poll. But it's something this White House, but the overall metrics are consistent with what we've heard with others. Age is a concern. Now, the White House looks at the other side of this, and they point to all these issues where they feel like the economy is improving. And though poll after poll suggests Americans don't feel great about it, there's underlying numbers that Americans at the same time say, well, I actually have a little more money in my pocket than I used to. Hey, I can go on a vacation now. I couldn't do that a year ago.
Right.
And they feel like that's coming. They think that'll come to the surface sometime next year, twinned with the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bill. And Americans next year will feel better about the economy. They also feel like next year, when Donald Trump is actually sitting in a courtroom on trial, that will also bring Trump's numbers down, that we're seeing sort of this artificial high from his base, and it'll be different when it gets to independent and swing voters. But here's the end line. At this point in 2015, at this point in 2019, Donald Trump was well behind Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, respectively. This time, they're dead even.
Well, Joe Biden's a sitting president. I will say two quick things, then we got to break. One is Joe Biden's always underestimated. He's always going to lose.
Yeah, everyone's
He's
so sad.
always the guy, you know, after Iowa and New Hampshire, he was dead in the water. Democrats said it then. They said it before the election. They said it after he got elected time and again. He's too old. He's outdated. He can't get anything done. And then he passes more bipartisan legislation than anybody in 20, 25 years. They say the same thing, you know, before the 2022 election. He's too old. His party's going to get crushed. There's going to be a red wave. There's not a red wave. That's one thing. The second thing is you've got the abortion issue. It's going to be a huge issue in 24 again. It's been nonstop since that right was taken away from women. And so, again, there are, again.
That, and are you better off than you were 4 years ago? That's the question.
Yeah.
You want to go back to that.
Yeah, sure.
We'll have more from this poll coming up. Also.